Hi, I'm Wojtek Szczepucha, and this is Living in the Cloud. Today I will cover how to protect against distributed denial of service attacks. If you don't know how to do it, or maybe you're interested in the new feature of Web Application Firewall on AWS, join me. By the way, could you please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Distributed denial of service attacks. This type of attack is based on a volume of traffic that is targeting your application. The purpose is simple. Stop your application from running and disrupt your service, and ultimately lower your business income. Let me show you how does it work. When you have a normal application and users are connecting to your load balancers, your web applications, your EC2 instances, you will see the right traffic coming into your application. Even if the traffic is increasing because of the legitimate traffic, your users will still be able to see the application. Even if the traffic will grow because of the growth of your users, everything is okay because your infrastructure will be probably built in a way that will be able to sustain this traffic, even by creating a right highly available infrastructure, either by using the services that will grow by itself, like serverless, or maybe a right EKS clusters. But what happens when the malicious traffic starts to coming into your infrastructure? You want to prevent this because the goal of the attackers is to prevent your application from up and running. So how to do it? As you can think and you can see, the attack should be prevented before it reaches out to your application. Why? Because you don't want to grow your EC2 instances, for example, to tens of the instances. As you probably figured out already, to prevent this traffic, you want to stop this before it reaches out to your application. You don't want your infrastructure to grow above the level of acceptance. How to do it? Basically, when you think about AWS and DDoS protection, you think about the shield. The shield is the one of the protections that is given to you already by AWS. How? AWS has its own global infrastructure, and by using this infrastructure, they can limit the traffic, the one that they find as malicious traffic, to not reach out to your application. They will limit this traffic in front of their infrastructure. But this Shield Standard version that is given to you for free has limited options. It's covering a limited set of attacks. It doesn't cover layer 7, which is actually the one that you are looking for if you have a web application. So how to prevent this? There are two major options, and the third that you can create by your own, but still not the best one. First is to use the Shield Advanced. It costs $3,000 a month for the whole organization, no matter how many applications and how many accounts you have. But it gives you a protection against distributed denial of service. You have a direct access to your support team for this kind of attacks. You can create automated mitigation of such attacks. You will be notified and you can make actions. But the price might be too big for some customers. And AWS listens to you. I mean, listens to us as the customers. And they're doing stuff to give you the best options. So recently, at the time of this recording, they have introduced the DDoS protection with its Web Application Firewall. So this is another option that you can use to prevent those attacks. The base cost is $20 per ACL per month. ACL is a access control list that is created on WAF. I will show you in the console so we will see what I mean. And you can have this Web Application Firewall enabled on your application load balancer. So in front of your application. But they have introduced the DDoS protection. And I mentioned that this kind of solution should be as far as it's possible from your application. So how does it work? They still leverage from the global infrastructure to mitigate these attacks. How it's done? It's underneath and under their knowledge, but it's not reaching out to your load balancers. So they probably moved it away from your web application. Another service that supports a web application firewall with the DDoS protection is the CloudFront. CloudFront can also have web application firewall enabled. And what is a CloudFront? If you ever heard about the content delivery network, this is the service. Another company who gives you such solutions is Akamai, Cloudflare. So they have own infrastructure and they are delivering content delivery network for you. Getting back to AWS, content delivery network given to you is a CloudFront. And how does it work? When you have an application in Frankfurt, for example, and the customer is coming from Madrid, CloudFront has a lot of point of presence, the points, the edge locations that are located in the biggest cities over the world. And for example, for Spain, the closest for the Madrid customer is the Madrid one. So when the customer reaches out to your application, firstly, it goes to Madrid edge location and then connects through the backbone, which means without going through the internet, but internal AWS infrastructure to your application, which is located in the Frankfurt, right? So this is how it works. And it can also have this web application firewall, so to protect your application before the malicious traffic reaches out to this. Let me show you in the console how does it look. I have already created a CloudFront distribution and I have connected it to the application load balancer. As you can see in here, there is a CloudFront and there is application load balancer. So the customer is currently going here and then going to application load balancer. So all the traffic right now goes firstly to my CloudFront. There is a still shield because the shield is given by AWS, but I'm not using the Shield Advanced, I'm using the Shield Standard. So all the traffic goes to the CloudFront, and then from the CloudFront goes through the WAF to application load balancer. And this is how it's done. In my opinion, and based on the best practices, this is how it should look like. So I have my CloudFront enabled and it's distributed across the world. So my customers can reach out to this application. And the origin, so the destination, is the Elastic Load Balancer located in Frankfurt. So how do I secure it even further? I can enable the web application firewall protection. It's the protection that can be disabled or enabled on the CloudFront level. And I can see the configuration of this solution when I click in the details. Let me go there. As you can see, we switched to the web application firewall and shield console. And we have a web ACLs that I mentioned before. And on the rules tab, you will see the rules that were enabled by me. When we go to the CloudFront distribution, there is a SQL protection and rate limiting enabled already. So I have 5 rules enabled, which prevent based on rates of the traffic, based on reputation list, and so on and so forth, as well as prevents the SQL injection attacks. Those 5 rules are here. But we are looking for another rule that we want to enable, which is the AWS managed rule, and it's called anti-DDoS protection. I can enable it, as you can see, $20 per month, and it will inspect all the web requests. It will use the default settings for me. I can even create different levels on how the mitigation will look like, because there is, as you can see, low sensitivity that will only mitigate the most suspicious traffic, but we can increase this, and we can do more by changing those sensitivity levels. And at the same time, you can enable and say when the challenge will be shown to the customers, like well-known CAPTCHA, for example. Let me save this rule. As you can see, there are a lot of other options that you can use, for example, Fortinet managed rules with the OWASP top 10 complete rule set and so on and so forth. So you can have it from the marketplace. It also gives you other options like ATP attacks prevention. You can have a bot control, very good one that prevents bots from coming into your application. But let me stay with those. As you can see, I have enabled the rules, but I haven't enabled the one that they went for. So let me check this again. Okay, I will set here and add rules. So we have right now all the rules here. We can also move up this DDoS protection rule set to be the first one that is read and save it. And this is it for the CloudFront. I have just enabled the DDoS protection on my CloudFront distribution that protects the application load balancer and the applications behind it. So how does it work for another service? We can have the web ACLs created here on the WAF and Shield. We can enable this on the web application load balancer. For example, we can click integrations and click here and associate WAF resource. That will do the work for us. Let me show you how we can do it in the other way. So we have AWS WAF, then you can find it here, of course. We will check the right region. As you can see, global is a CloudFront, but I have an application in the Frankfurt. So let me create this DDoS for web app. Let's call it this way. We can add the resources, which is load balancer. It will find my load balancer on the list. Let me add it. It will have the resource level DDoS protection and active under distributed denial of service. This is something cool. And let me click next. Next, let me enable the sample requests and create. Okay, it will create the right configuration for me. I check here and it's enabled. It will show here. So still up and under construction. By the way, web application firewall is something that, in my opinion, every application should have. Its purpose is to stop the malicious traffic before it reaches to your application. If you know already web application firewall, just enable this DDoS protection rule. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's integrated. Let's check what kind of rules we have enabled. As you can see, there is no rule. So let me add this DDoS protection rule again. And let's enable it. Basic setup. And that's it. We have enabled the web application firewall DDoS protection for our load balancer. So even though if we look at the traffic, we expose our load balancer to be visible from the world directly, it will be protected from the CloudFront point of view and from the application load balancer point of view. So we can do it. Normally, how would I do that? I would disable this one and I would only allow the traffic coming from the CloudFront to my application load balancer and have this application load balancer hidden from the internet. So getting back to the topic, DDoS protection enabled, and you can check for the CloudFront. It gives you 1 terabyte of data for each month of the traffic, which is excellent if you have a small application. Additionally, if you have, for example, web server and you are giving some services to your users, you are paying for the traffic coming out from your service. Why not use CloudFront to lower this bill by having those 1 terabyte of data transfer out every month. Consider it. Again, thank you for being with me. And by the way, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.